Hello, my loves. Welcome to Soul Collective. My name is Nelly and I'm your host here on this channel where we talk about embodying the highest version of ourselves. I also channel messages from spirit, from the divine to help us navigate that journey as we make our way back to ourselves, as we return to our authenticity and our power. So if that sounds like your vibe, go ahead and subscribe, join the collective, and let's get into today's video. Okay, today is day 6 of the 30 days of devotion that I am doing with the guidance of my spirit team. And today's video is going to be a reading. I am going to be channeling into a thread of messages that spirit has already been given me over the course of the past few days. And I'm excited because not only am I going to be channeling into these different threads of messages, I'm also going to be using my tarot cards to give depth and more expansion into the messages that I channel. So I'm excited today, even though I've been terrified because Spirit has been guiding me to start using my tarot cards in these readings for the past 2 months, basically. And I have been resisting so much, but I'm finally here now as this version of myself who is not allowing that fear to stand in the way. So let's get into this reading because I'm very, very excited. There are 2 messages that have come through since the beginning of this embodiment journey that I'm on. And the first one that came right at the beginning was that becoming is about being. That was the statement that Spirit kept giving me, kept saying to me, right? So becoming is about being. Oh, this is taking me back to another message that I did a few weeks ago. This takes me back to that message, which was about not projecting your current circumstances onto your future self. And with Spirit saying becoming is about being, they want to emphasize that it should work the other way around. So then Spirit is saying, bring that version of yourself into your current reality so that you can start being that version of yourself. So that that version of yourself is no longer something that is going to happen in the future, but something that you can start to embody right now, right this second. So I'm going to go ahead and shuffle my tarot deck here so we can go deeper into this message and see what other messages Spirit wants to bring through. Okay, so I have 3 cards that popped out at the same time, and what Spirit always guides me to do when that happens is to use the top card as the main message and the other 2 cards to support the thread of message that comes through with the first card. So I have 3 cards here. The first one, the top one, which is the main message thread, is the 2 of Wands. And then I have the Judgment card and the Tower. Okay. All right. So let's get into this message. I'm going to go ahead and have a look at my tarot guidebook here to see what the main message here is. And then we'll go deeper into the reading. So my tarot guidebook says, when the 2 of Wands appears, it can indicate a growth in new partnerships and relationships. and these are likely to benefit everyone involved. This is often related to your career or business instead of romantic, social, or familial relationships. Are you thinking about seeking out a promotion or furthering your education? It's time to really get serious about exploring your options for the future. And so the part that stands out for me is that the Two of Wands card indicates a growth in new partnerships and relationships, particularly related to your career or business. Okay, so what I'm getting here from Spirit is that you haven't allowed yourself to receive help in the past in the way that you need on your particular journey. You haven't allowed yourself to receive that. You haven't allowed yourself to even ask for that. Getting into that energy of allowing yourself to receive the help that you need will really shift you in the direction that you are wanting to go. Okay, so let's look into the supporting cards to that message, and let's have a look at what the Judgment card is. The Judgment card indicates someone who has worked to intentionally cultivate a rewarding life full of joy and contentment and weathered the bumpy roads on their journey to advancements. It reveals awakening and renewal, not just spiritually, but also emotionally and physically. This card shows we've experienced a change in personal perspective. No, a change in personal perception and gained a new ability to blend with our world. Everything is beginning to come together, falling into place in a way that will lead you to your true self. Judgment can also symbolize favorable legal outcomes. It just makes perfect sense because this version of yourself that you are envisioning, that you are wanting to become, that you are embodying for some of you, this is not an absolutely new version of yourself. Yes, new in the physical world, in a sense that your life is going to begin looking different, but it's a version of yourself that you have been cultivating. As my tarot guidebook says here with the Judgment card, it indicates someone who has worked to intentionally cultivate a rewarding life full of joy and contentment and weathered the bumpy roads on their journey to advancement. It's about awakening to your highest potential. And it's about recognizing that that version of yourself is accessible to you right now. You have an entire picture of who this version of yourself is. The only thing is you are keeping her in the future. And Spirit is saying, bring her into your current world. Bring her into your current reality. And that's how you become her, by being her. And what I'm intuitively reading here with the Tower card is that, of course, this new version of yourself that you are becoming is going to require the old version of yourself to go through a Tower moment, because you're going to have to let go of the version of yourself that you've been. The imagery here on the Tower card is a tower surrounded by flames. Okay, so this tower is burning down, and that is what's going to have to happen. The old version of yourself is going to have to go through the flames so that the version of you that you are becoming can rise like a phoenix, baby. Yes. Okay, so let's see what else wants to come through here with the cards. Oh, okay, so we have the Six of Swords. Oh, okay, so what I'm getting with the Six of Swords is that this is a transitional period for you. You are in this transitional period between the version of yourself you've been and the one that you're becoming. And Spirit wants me to talk about my own journey here. Spirit wants me to talk about my own journey and to use that as an example. Like right now, I'm doing a challenge that Spirit is calling 30 days of devotion. That is my transitional period where I'm going through this time of intentionally embodying, bringing a new version of myself into my current reality. So then you find yourself going through this period of falling back into patterns of the old version of yourself, but that's part of the process. It's part of that awakening that is happening here because you have to become aware of the patterns and the habits and recognize that, oh, these are patterns and habits and behaviors of the old version of me, and these are the patterns, behaviors, and actions of the new version of me. And being able to recognize when you've fallen back so that you can bring yourself back into the path that you're on. So you're definitely going through this transition, and as you go deeper and deeper into the embodiment of this version of yourself that you've been cultivating, your ability to remain as the new version of yourself will increase. So you'll experience less and less of this back and forth, in and out, old, new thing that you are experiencing here during this transition period. It just makes so much sense that these messages are coming through at a time when I'm going through my own transition because, I'm very much a part of the collective that I read for. So some of these messages, not all of them, but some of these messages apply to me in my life as well. So what that tells me is that whatever it is that I'm going through, I know that there are other people out there who are going through the same things, wanting or needing to hear these messages. So if you're resonating, this message is definitely for you. Go ahead and subscribe, join the collective, and let's keep going. So the next card that came out here is the Four of Cups. Okay, so I'm gonna go into my guidebook, and what it says here is, with the Four of Cups, it is time to put things on hold for a little while. The Four of Cups is associated with a period of inactivity and dormancy. If you're feeling a lack of motivation, it may be time for some soul searching. In addition, this card can indicate a relationship with strings attached. So you'll need to establish guidelines and boundaries before things progress any further. Will you be expected to give more than you're receiving? Are you someone who prefers the other person to do the emotional heavy lifting? So what's standing out for me here is the part about this card indicating a relationship with strings attached. So you'll need to establish guidelines and boundaries before things progress any further. What I'm getting from Spirit here is that this need to set up boundaries is particularly important during this transitional period that you're in right now. Because embodying this new version of yourself, taking on this new version of yourself, requires you to shift and change how you operate in your daily life. It requires you to shift and change your routines, your rituals, your practices, how you spend your time every single day, what you're devoting your energy to, what you're devoting your time to. And that requires a shift in who and what you are available to. Okay? So it's about cultivating that awareness of who and what gives you energy and who and what depletes your energy at this time. Okay, so Spirit wants me to go into the other thread of message that I've been receiving over the past few days. And what I heard was, if you're learning, you're not losing. So if you listen to yesterday's installment of the Embodiment Diaries, I did speak about experiencing some challenges just, within these first few days of my devotion journey, and finding myself in a position where I was beating myself up and almost staying in that energy, but then being able to shift my perspective in a way that allowed me to learn what it is that I needed to learn so that I can move forward in a more expanded way. This particular message thread is about that. It's about understanding that things may not always go according to plan, but that it's also an opportunity to find a perspective that's going to shift you into a higher state of being. Okay, so let me shuffle a little bit more of my cards here and see what else wants to come through about this message. I love that feeling when I'm just like straight channeling a message where I feel like spirit is just flowing through my body. It's such a comforting sensation within my physical body when that happens. So thank you, Spirit. Thank you for my gifts. Thank you for just everything. Thank you for these messages. Okay. We have the Five of Pentacles in the reverse. So I'm going to go into my guidebook here to see what the Five of Pentacles means when it is in the reverse, because when it is upright, it's usually a card of loss of material things, because it is the Five of Pentacles, and the Pentacles represent like things of the physical world, money and other material things. But in the reverse, it shows us that the hard times are coming to an end. There may be a charity to help out, or friends lending a helping hand, or even a new job allowing you to get back on your feet. It's a card of hopefulness, showing us life truly is worth living, and that our happiness isn't defined by the size of our bank accounts. In many cases, it can lead to a renewed interest in our spiritual growth and development. Absolutely. Hard times are coming to an end. That's the part that stands out for me with this. And the part that says it's a card of hopefulness, showing us life truly is worth living, and that our happiness isn't defined by the size of our bank accounts. Exactly, because that's a huge lesson that you've learned here. Yes, you've been through a period where you have lost a lot of things, a lot of material things, but look at what you've gained in the process. Look at the understanding that you've gained. Look at the wisdom that you've gained, and look at what you've done with it, because you are now at this point where the hard times are coming to an end. You're now at a time in your life where you can stand so firmly and so grounded in the knowing of who you are, because you now understand that your happiness is not defined by anything that is outside of yourself. And Spirit is saying, You didn't lose anything by losing what you lost, because you learned. So if you're learning, you're not losing. You're gaining more than you can understand, because that understanding, that knowledge, that wisdom that you gain while going through tower moments, while you are in the fire, is what's going to allow you this rise that is happening. And that's that. Okay, so let's get a few more cards and see what else is there. Ooh. All right, so the card that popped out is the Hangman. The Hangman, sometimes called the Hanged One, is seen as a highly significant card, and although many of its meanings are hidden, it can be deeply layered. This card reveals wisdom or prophetic knowledge we have not tapped or discovered, lying dormant beneath the surface. The Hangman tells us that sometimes it's necessary to hit our internal pause button if we need to put things on hold. Learn to step back and evaluate these small breaks and see them as valuable and necessary rather than just plowing ahead. The universe wants you to stop and breathe. Okay, so there are two parts that stand out for me here, and the first one being that this card reveals wisdom or prophetic knowledge we have not tapped or discovered, lying dormant beneath the surface. And the second part being that the universe wants you to stop and breathe. We've been talking here about the wisdom that you've gained, the knowledge that you have acquired that is allowing you to rise here. And Spirit is saying, during this journey, during this transitional period, allow yourself to tap. Wow. I'm going into another message that I channeled a few days ago that, again, I did not post. And I guess Spirit is just like, you know what, we're going to bring back these messages because the collective needs to know. Learn to trust the wisdom that you have gained through the process of going through the fire. Learn to trust yourself. Learn to trust the guidance that you are being given by your spirit team. But you can only trust that guidance if you allow yourself to trust your own intuition, to trust your inner knowing. And that's what this card is reminding me of here. Spirit is saying, let's go back and talk about that, because that is a key component of the journey that you're on right now. This idea of trusting your intuition even more, going even deeper into your spirituality here, learning to trust yourself more, because you know what it is that you are called to do. You know what it is that you are called to build. You know what movement you're called to lead. Sometimes you are so scared of the things that you know you're called to do because you know how big they are. But you also know that you can achieve these things. You also know that you have that potential. And I love the fact that you are actively and intentionally working towards embodying newer and newer, more and more expanded versions of yourself here. And you're allowing yourself to go into places you've never been. And you're going to have to trust a deeper level of inner knowing. You're going to have to access and tap into that wisdom that you haven't quite tapped into yet because you haven't needed to. And now that you're going into a different level of yourself, Ooh, what I'm hearing is that now that you are leveling up in your life, you have to, at the same time, deepen your faith. Okay. The card that just popped out now is the Six of Pentacles, upright. Okay. Things are shifting. The hard times are coming to an end. And through you trusting this inner knowing, deepening your faith, deepening your level of self-trust, balance is coming into your life. Abundance is coming into your life. Ooh. All right, so what I'm getting from the Tarot Guidebook here is that the Six of Pentacles is a card of being charitable. It's a card of giving generously. That is because we are sitting in the recognition of the abundance that we have, so that we're able to give freely to others, so that we're not only able to expand ourselves through the process of becoming higher and higher versions of ourselves, but that we can expand those around us as well. What I'm also receiving intuitively here is this balance that you've cultivated within yourself here, where you are able to really hold your feminine energy within your masculine energy, where you're able to receive and give, where you're able to hold both of those energies. So I'm really getting that energy of a coming together within yourself here with this energy of this version of yourself that you want to become, or this version of yourself that you are actively and intentionally embodying at this time. All right, thank you, Spirit. So I'm going to do one last shuffle and see what card wants to come through, and then we're going to end the reading. Thank you, Spirit. Okay, so the last card to pop out here is the King of Cups. The King of Cups shows us a social and outgoing individual, a creative type who loves to entertain others. This is a card of security, stability, and grounded home life that can also indicate a person's giving spirit, generous heart, and willingness to take responsibility for one's actions. The King of Cups is often the card of artists, musicians, and spiritual seekers, and represents the ideal blend of emotion and reason. What did I say about you coming into that energy of balance between yourself, where you are able to be in your masculine energy and be in your feminine energy, in your emotion and in your reason, in your mind and in your heart? So with the King of Cups energy here, you're definitely coming into that alignment. You're definitely coming into that place of security and stability within yourself. It's that groundedness I was talking about. This card can also indicate a person's giving spirit, generous heart, and willingness to take responsibility for one's actions. Exactly. This was such a beautiful message, and I'm just so excited that it's the first channel message with tarot cards that I'm going to be putting up on the channel, because it's such a beautiful, positive message that just sets the tone for this new chapter of your life that you are going into. So go ahead and subscribe if this message resonated with you. Join the collective, and I will see you guys in the next video. I'll see you guys in tomorrow's installment of the Embodiment Diaries. Okay, so bye.